I'd been at the cottage in Muskoka for 3 days with my grandson, Jake. He's 8 now, and I'd been teaching him to fish the same way my father taught me 40 years ago. Early mornings on the dock, thermoses of coffee for me, hot chocolate for him, watching the mist lift off the lake. By the time we left, we'd caught 4 bass and a decent-sized pike, and Jake couldn't stop talking about mounting it on his bedroom wall. I had built that cottage myself back in 1995. 2 summers, working weekends and holidays. Every board I placed, every nail I drove. That's what I do. That's who I am. I'm a contractor. I was for 42 years before I retired last spring. Started as a carpenter's apprentice at 17. Worked my way up, and eventually ran my own company, Miller Construction. We built half the homes in Aurora. So, when I pulled into my driveway on Thursday afternoon and saw a construction dumpster sitting on my front lawn, my chest went tight. This was my house. The home I'd lived in for 23 years. The one I bought after my first wife, Sarah, passed from cancer. The house where I raised my daughter, Emily, and later shared with Diana after we married 5 years ago. I got out of the truck, slowly. Jake chattered about showing his mom the photos of the pike, but I barely heard him. The front door was open. Inside, the sound of power tools, circular saw whining, hammers banging, echoed through the house. I walked in and froze. Dust everywhere, drop cloths covering the furniture. 2 contractors I'd never seen before were tearing down the wall between my bedroom and the spare room, the wall that separated my private space from the rest of the house. Half of it was already gone. I could see straight through to my bed from the hallway. What the hell is going on? I asked. One of the contractors looked up, surprised. Oh, hey, you the homeowner? Yes, I'm the homeowner. Who are you, and what are you doing to my house? Renovation project. We're opening up the space, adding windows, converting it into a content studio. That's when Tyler appeared, stepping out from what used to be my bedroom. My stepson, 28, wearing one of those designer streetwear hoodies that probably cost more than my first car. Sneakers. Phone in hand. Always the phone in hand. Oh, you're back early, he said without looking up. Diana said you'd be gone until Saturday. I kept my voice steady. 42 years in construction had taught me not to lose my temper on a job site. What is this? Renovation. Upgrading the place. This house is stuck in the 90s. Robert, I need a proper studio space for content creation. The lighting in my current room is terrible. I turned to the contractors. Stop working right now. We've got a timeline, one of them said. I don't care about your timeline. This is my house. Stop, or I'm calling the police. They exchanged glances and reluctantly put down their tools. Tyler finally looked up from his phone. Relax, dude. Diana approved this. It's our house. Our house. I walked past him to the kitchen counter, where my mail lay. My credit card statement was open. 3 days ago, while I was at the cottage with Jake, $8,500 had been charged. Lumber, drywall, electrical supplies, a contractor deposit. Did you use my credit card? I asked. Diana gave it to me. We're family. What's the big deal? I looked at him. The 28-year-old who had never held a job more than 6 months, who'd been building his social media brand for 3 years, living in my house for 2 years, defended every time I suggested he contribute to household expenses. The big deal, I said quietly, is this is my house. I built it. My name's on the deed, and you just committed credit card fraud. Fraud? That's dramatic. It's a family expense, he laughed. Did I authorize this charge? Diana did. Diana isn't on this credit card account. He shifted uncomfortably. Look, man, she said it would be fine. You've got the money. What else are you spending it on? I called Diana. Hey, hun, are you home? How was fishing? Did you authorize Tyler to use my credit card to hire contractors? A pause. He said he needed to improve his workspace. He's trying to grow his channel. We need to support him. Did you tell him he could charge $8,000 to my card? I didn't think about the exact amount. He said he'd keep it reasonable. $8,000 isn't reasonable. And did you tell him he could tear down a wall in my bedroom? Another pause. He said He needed more space. This house is big enough. Why are you making this difficult? I'd paid every mortgage payment for 23 years. Replaced the roof after the ice storm in 2013. Renovated the kitchen when Diana moved in. Built the deck out back for family barbecues. Maintained every system. And now I was being difficult. Diana, I'll talk to you when you get home. What time are you done work? I'm leaving now. Be there in 20 minutes. I looked at the contractors again. Who hired you? The older one pulled out his phone, showing a text. Tyler's number. Your guy said his parents wanted a renovation. Paid us $2,000 deposit. Do you have permits for this work? They exchanged looks. I'll handle the permits. Of course. I took out my phone and started photographing the demolished wall, the exposed wiring, the sagging ceiling. Then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. That wall? Load-bearing. It supported the roof structure. You can't just remove it without installing proper beams and supports. I said. The younger contractor's face went pale. It's not structural, he said weakly. I looked at the ceiling, already seeing a slight sag. Stop immediately. This is dangerous. Illegal work. You can't continue. Tyler had been listening from the doorway. Oh my God, you're being so extra about this. It's fine. We'll figure it out. I looked at him, this entitled kid who'd never built anything in his life, who thought posting videos on TikTok was a career, had just put my house in structural danger for better lighting. Everyone out. Now, this is my house, my property. You've done unpermitted, illegal work that's compromised the structural integrity. Leave immediately, or I'm calling the building inspector and the police. The contractors started packing up. Tyler pulled out his phone to film. Turn that off. It's my house. In Ontario, you need consent to record someone in their private residence. He lowered the phone, face red. Diana's going to hear about this. Diana's car pulled in the driveway. I gathered my documents and met her at the door. She came in looking defensive. Tyler said you humiliated him in front of contractors. Diana, come look at this. I led her to the bedroom. She stopped when she saw the damage. What happened to the wall? Tyler hired contractors to tear it down without permits. That's a load-bearing wall. Do you see the sagging ceiling? That's because there's no support. This could cause serious structural damage. She bit her lip. Look at the blueprints, I said, showing her. See this marking? That's the engineering symbol for a load-bearing wall. You can't just remove it. Can't you just fix it? Diana asked. Not without an engineer's assessment, proper permits, and several thousand in materials and labor. I said, Diana, this isn't about me being difficult. It's about Tyler making dangerous, illegal changes to my property without my knowledge or consent. I showed her the credit card statement next. Over $8,000 charged my account without asking me. He's my son, Robert. He made a mistake, she said. When does a mistake become a deliberate choice with consequences? I asked. I could see her looking at the wall, at the papers in my hand, at my face. What do you want me to do? She asked finally. I want him to take responsibility. I want him to pay back the money he stole. He didn't steal. He's my son, Robert. Unauthorized use of a credit card is fraud. That's what it is, legally. And I want him to pay for the repairs to fix this properly. He doesn't have that kind of money, Diana said. Then he shouldn't have spent it. Tyler appeared in the doorway. So what? You're going to sue me? Your stepson? Great family values, Robert. I turned to him. Tyler, I've been patient with you for 5 years. You've lived here rent-free. I've paid for your food, your utilities, your Netflix subscription. I've listened to Diana defend your so-called career. I've watched you sleep until noon, play video games until 3 a.m., and contribute nothing to this household. And now you've committed fraud and damaged my property. Yes, I'm holding you accountable. This is such Diana. Are you going to let him talk to me like this? Diana looked between us, struggling. Tyler, maybe you should apologize. Apologize for what? He said. For stealing, I said quietly. For property damage. For endangering the structural integrity of my home. He scoffed. Whatever, boomer. This is why your first wife's daughter doesn't even visit anymore." The room went silent. Emily, my daughter from my marriage to Sarah, had moved to Vancouver after university. We talked every week, but she rarely came home, not because of me, but because of Diana and Tyler. Tyler had borrowed money from her 3 years ago and never paid it back. Diana had always taken his side. Her face went red. "Tyler, that's enough," she said. "No, let him say what he wants." I said, keeping my voice level. "Let's get everything out in the open." Tyler pulled out his phone again. "You know what? My followers are going to love this." Entitled boomer kicks out his stepson for trying to make something of himself while living in a house worth, what, $1 million. $1.2 million. I said, I'd had it appraised last year. Worth every penny because I maintained it meticulously for 23 years. Exactly. You got all this money and you won't help me build my brand. I almost laughed. Tyler, you have 47,000 followers. Do you know how many of them will still be there in 5 years? Do you know how many content creators actually make a living wage? You're 28. You need a real career. This is my real career. Then treat it like one. Get business insurance. Pay taxes. Create a plan. Stop living off your mother and me. Diana stepped between us. Both of you, stop. This isn't helping. I looked at her, the woman I'd married 5 years ago. Diana, I need to know. Are you going to support your son breaking the law and damaging our home? Or are you going to acknowledge that what he did was wrong? He's my son, she said. That's not an answer. He made a mistake. He's an adult. He faces adult consequences. You can't fix this for him. He can make it right, or he can face the legal system. But I'm not pretending it didn't happen. She stood up. I need to think. Take all the time you need. She went to what was left of our bedroom, and I heard the door close. I sat at the kitchen table, looking at the blueprints I'd drawn 29 years ago. Every measurement, every calculation, every detail. The home I'd built with my own hands. You can't build something solid on a broken foundation. The next morning, Tom, a structural engineer I'd worked with for 30 years, arrived at 8. He spent 2 hours examining the damage, taking measurements, running calculations. When he finished, his face was grim. "Robert, this is bad. The roof load is being distributed through this wall. Without it, there's potential collapse within weeks, maybe days, depending on snow load. And winter is coming. What's the fix?" I asked, "You need a steel beam installed here with proper support columns. Immediately. Emergency repair. Safety issue. Materials and labor? Minimum 12 to 15,000. Write it up?" I said, "I need the full engineering report for insurance and legal purposes." An hour later, the building inspector arrived. One look at the wall, and he whistled. Who did this work? Unlicensed contractors, hired by someone who doesn't own the property. He pulled out his tablet and started documenting. Red tag. Load-bearing wall partially demolished. No permit, no engineer, no support. Unsafe. Vacate immediately until repairs are completed and pass inspection. My home, the house I built. Red tag because of Tyler's stupidity. Where do we go? Diana asked. I'll stay at Emily's old room at the cottage. You can stay wherever you want, I said. I spent the next 3 days coordinating repairs. Tom's contractors worked around the clock. Steel beam, $13,000. Installation, $8,000. Additional reinforcement, $23,467. Plus Tyler's unauthorized $8,000. Total $31,467. The credit card company reversed the charges. Police issued a warrant for Tyler. The restraining order kept him at least 100 meters away. Diana called every day, angry, pleading, desperate. Robert, please drop the charges. He should be terrified. He's my son. He made a mistake. A $30,000 mistake that left me homeless for a week. I'll make sure he pays. With what money, Diana? She had no answer. 6 days later, repairs were complete. Tom signed off. Inspector removed the red tag. I moved back in. Diana was there, sitting in the living room. We need to talk, she said. I'm done, I said. I'm not angry. I'm done. Her face crumpled. I've spent 5 years watching you enable Tyler, watching you prioritize his feelings over our marriage, defend his laziness, entitlement, and lack of responsibility. And now I spent $31,000 fixing damage. He calls for better lighting for his videos. He's my son. I was supposed to be a parent, not a friend. Teach him accountability. Set boundaries. You never did. Now he's facing criminal charges, and you want to fix that too. You could drop the charges. Why would I? He committed fraud. He ruined it himself. You knew. You enabled him. I can't stay married to someone who prioritizes their adult son over their husband, who enables criminal behavior, who asks me to sacrifice my home and financial security for someone who shows zero remorse. Are you asking for a divorce? She asked. Yes. I can't do this anymore. She cried. Tyler's court date was set for 3 weeks later. Emily called. Dad, I'm sorry. He borrowed $3,000 from me and never paid it back. I said, I know. I didn't tell you because I didn't want problems with Diana. But you can tell me now. We talked for an hour. She promised to fly home for Christmas, the first time in 3 years. Tyler pleaded guilty. Restitution, $31,000. 2 years probation. He had to get a real job. Brady's parents kicked him out a month later when he couldn't contribute. Diana filed for divorce. I didn't contest it. She got half of what we'd accumulated together, very little since I owned the house beforehand. I spent Christmas at the cottage with Emily and Jake. We fished through the ice, drank hot chocolate, talked about Sarah, the old days, the future. You built this, didn't you? Emily asked one evening. 2 summers, I said, and the house too. Why do you think Diana didn't get that? Because she saw them as assets to be used. I said, I saw them as a legacy to be preserved. Are you okay, Dad? Jake asked. I looked out the frozen lake. Stars coming out. I lost a marriage, but I kept my self-respect. I kept my home, and I kept my integrity. Every time I look at that beam supporting my roof, I know exactly what it cost to fix someone else's mistake. Every time I see the blueprints I drew, I remember who built that house. And every time I don't have to enable a 28-year-old man-child, I feel a little more free. 6 months later, I sold the house, got a good price, and bought a smaller place closer to the cottage, something I could maintain easily without the memories of Diana and Tyler. Emily visited more. Jake asked me to teach him carpentry. I showed him how to read blueprints, measure twice, cut once, and respect the structure you're working with. Why do you always say that, Grandpa? Because buildings are like people, I said. They have limits. You have to understand what they can carry. Push too hard in the wrong place, and everything comes down. Like when Tyler broke the wall? Exactly like that. I heard through friends that Tyler's TikTok never took off. He now works at a call center, paying restitution. Diana remarried. Maybe she learned something. Maybe not. I think about the cottage I built, the blueprints I drew, the structures that hold, the measurements that matter, the foundation that supports. I think about Emily bringing Jake to learn carpentry, teaching him what my father taught me, and legacy that lasts longer than a social media post. You can't build anything solid on a broken foundation. It took me 63 years and $31,000 to fully understand that lesson. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.